final thing I think was in reference to Mr. Anderson's comment. I believe when you've gone out for RFPs, you've never gotten it because your rates were higher than what we got for contracts. So I know that maybe I heard two different things, but my understanding from staff was is that contract rates were lower than you, but it's a totally different structure. You're looking at an overall thing. Somebody comes in and just cleans the sewers. So I'm imagining our contractors are a little bit less than you for that particular.
That's my understanding as well. My understanding is that we provided sewer maintenance service to you folks on a contract basis from about 1999 to maybe 2002, thereabouts. And 2001 is when that WDR started being developed in the area. And again, it was the Regional Water Quality Control Board coming down with these serious mandates. We were looking at a couple of issues that we had to balance out. About the same time, we were offering maintenance service to the city of Placentia outside of our current boundaries as well, under contract. And we had a real dilemma. Do we, because the threshold and the bar was being raised, do we add more full-time staff just to bid on contracts for other cities, or do we back off of that and focus on the part of the system that we own and maintain for the public, get really good at it, make sure we're complying under the WDR, and let the rest fall wherever it may. As it stands today, the city of Placentia would change their contract to us in a heartbeat, or at least that's what they've been told. That's what we've been told. But again, we were talking about making commitments with terms that I don't think the city or the city of Placentia or city of Yorba Linda were willing to meet. Multi-year contracts, so that if we had to add full-time employees, and that's what we were looking at the time, and other services. And at the time, I don't believe you were interested in those other services. So it didn't make it feasible for us, and we said we're not going to be competing against private contracts on very specific and narrow services.
Ken, thank you very much for a very detailed and thorough and informative
My
presentation.
Pleasure.
Thank you. All right, we've reached that point in the council meeting where we are at public comments for items that are on the consent calendar or items not on the remainder of the agenda. Public comments is the time reserved on each regular meeting agenda to provide an opportunity for members of the public to directly address the City Council Redevelopment Agency on consent calendar items or matters of interest to the public concerning the city's agency's business or any matter over which the City Council or the Redevelopment Agency has jurisdiction. All remarks, please, shall be addressed to the City Council as a body through the presiding officer, that would be me, and not directed to any member thereof. The City Council Redevelopment Agency desires its meetings to be conducted in a professional manner respectful of all participants. Therefore, the mayor or chairman may ask that the speakers refrain from engaging in personal attacks, name-calling, or campaigning on any election issue during their allotted time. Public criticism of policies, procedures, etc. are obviously permitted, but address it to the body as a body, please. 5-minute maximum. Don't please mistake liberty for license. You don't have to take all 5 minutes. If you can focus like a laser beam, that would be greatly appreciated. We have a fairly full agenda tonight. So with that being said, would anyone like to be heard on public comments? Mrs. Nelson.
I thought you forgot my name. Good evening. I wanted to address two issues from the last council meeting. A lot of time to think about this. The first one was the warning light installations on the El Cajon Trail at Eureka, El Cajon, and Prospect Avenues. I thought staff presented a very clear report showing the safety aspects of the lights and explaining how grant money would actually pay for the whole project. Now, I personally don't always think it's a good idea to take money for things just because it's offered, but this seemed a no-brainer. But it went down 3-2, as I recall, which I thought was a real puzzler. The explanation was that the Traffic Commission didn't like the project. Well, I didn't know our commissions were infallible, but I might have questioned that if I was up there. Anyway, perhaps Mr. Stoll and his staff should let the grant money go to other cities and save himself and staff a lot of time and effort, but good try anyway. Thank him for me. He's not here tonight. The other issue from the last meeting was the conflict of interest brought by the mayor and dealt with Mrs. Horton's proximity to one edge of the town center project. Watching this topic being discussed made me feel like I was watching a political TV ad complete with sound bites and posturing.
Mrs. Nelson, that's back on the agenda. You're going to have to wait until.
No, it's not on the agenda. It's under, you're going to consider it for the agenda.
That's considered on the agenda. So I'm sorry, you're going to have to wait. Mrs. Day. Mrs. Day.
Good evening, Mayor Anderson, council people, staff, Lee Day, Lombardi Lane. I was viewing the posted agendas out in front of the building, and I noticed that May 18th they're going to have the increase of disposal rates addressed. And I think it was this week, I happened to see this, the little dealies where the cities, they give a little blurb about what's happening and everything. And so I see here in Placentia, you probably are aware of this, but I just want to bring it up to make sure, that it shows settlement. The city, Placentia, we're talking, the city is receiving $3 million from a settlement with Republic Waste Services of Southern California, also known as Placentia Disposal. The city has served the trash collection agency with a notice of default, contending that Republic has been underpaying the franchise fee. Okay? Now, it was my understanding that the city of Yorba Linda, reserves a right to conduct an operational cost audit every 5 years of Yorba Linda Disposal, which is also Republic, okay? And what I was wondering, has the city had a recent audit to determine if we too have been underpaid in the franchise fees? And also, can the city at this time also re-examine the composting program, its cost, because we pay $16 a ton to haul to Riverside, plus $10 traffic, and its cost and its purpose, because all those costs, and then there's no market for the composting, and so it is hauled back here and given away. So I was just wondering if this is a time where